All right, here we are. Blunt Basterds, all three of us. I am Blunt Gav. This is Blunt BK, which is Bhargav Kadkar, and this is Blunt Barmy Army member. Must be very happy today. We're going to talk about later. 1 wicket draw, and the way Barmy Army, the English team, the whole of England was so happy. It's like they must have just won the Ashes. But let's talk about somebody else. Let's talk about Novak Djokovic to start with. He has won, if you don't know, he has won 20 Grand Slam titles, the highest in the history ever. Tied with Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer. He was coming to Australian Open to make it 21 to become the greatest of all time. He's already arguably the greatest tennis player ever. And without any argument, he's the living legend. 9-time Australian Open champion, last 3-time defending champion. Then why on earth are we treating him like a fucking terrorist? He got detained for 8 hours incommunicado, which is a fancy word for saying like unable to speak with other people. It's not even Italian. Then transferred to Park Hotel. This is not really a hotel. Asylum seekers live there, and they have locked windows, so they can't run away or jump. Okay, and he's not being allowed to train because he still wants to play. Now, let's start with this little question, very little one. If Australia didn't want him in the country, why did Tennis Australia grant him an exemption? Why did authorities grant him a visa? Cut to the chase, all the drama could have been easily avoided had Australian border force not acted like bloody North Korean border force. And this is just completely gone mental. Please give me your 2 cents, whoever wants to start.
Yeah, let me jump in here. I think in my mind, I think there is very little drama. The drama is because it's Novak Djokovic. If it was you or me, nothing would have happened, right? The point is, if you take out the emotion of it and look at it in plain, logic, cold way, there are two parts to it. One is the overconfidence and cockiness of Djokovic, that I am Djokovic, I can, people will make exemptions for me. Number one. Number two, Tennis Australia or whoever is the organizing body of Australian Open, they said, okay, fine, we'll manage it, you come and we'll figure it out. So there is something like the responsibility is somewhere in the middle. It's partly Djokovic and partly Tennis Australia or whoever the organizing body of Australian Open is. That they asked him to fly down to Melbourne and then figure it out. So he should not have boarded a flight to Australia because the rules were not invented after he landed in Australia. The rules were already there. He wanted to have an exemption based on some medical whatever. Now the Australian authorities have rejected his medical explanation, right? So it's as simple as that. Now he can, and the thing that has worked against Djokovic is his views and public, berating about COVID and things like that in the past. That public opinion has worked, or politicians, kind of have that the comments made by Djokovic in the past is working against him right now. To me, that's the only kind of drama here. Otherwise, the rules were clear. Rules were not made specially to stop Djokovic.
All right. According to the rules, you're making sense, and it is called Tennis Australia. I've double checked it on Google. Everything is called Cricket Australia. They're just keeping it very simple. They just change all the name Australian Cricket Board and all. They're like, it's as simple as that. And I will not hit on the point that he did get the exemption. It's not he just made it up. It was given by Tennis Australia. But I want to let Bikram to speak, and then I have another question, which is I'm going to get into less rule basis and more like what the world is going towards. Yes, Barmy Army. Very happy today.
Yeah, very happy, and I completely agree with Bhargav because we as Barmy Army members were also not able to travel to Australia because of these rules. So I don't know why Djokovic has to be treated specially. Obviously, the fault lies with Tennis Australia. They shouldn't have given him false hope. They shouldn't have given him that exemption. And I don't know whether you guys know this, but there are like a couple of people who have already traveled to Australia with that same exemption, and they are inside Australia, and Australian government is actually investigating that. So it's just that before boarding the flight, I think Djokovic tweeted it or whatever, posted on the social media, and there was a big hue and cry if that has not happened, I think he might have slipped through the border control, because that could have, there is he had a exemption certificate, and he had his medical reason and whatever he had, which also is which will also land him in trouble again, because we'll talk about it later. But yeah, I think yeah, it's fair what the border security people are doing. I mean, obviously the way they are treating him, that's different. But I think even if we would have gone there, we would have also been treated the same way. So I don't really feel that it was a wrong thing to do. The problem was, obviously, I think what Bhargav said, I think completely agree with him. And I guess cricket, sorry, I always say cricket. Tennis Australia is at major fault here. They should have made sure that this never happened. So yeah.
All right, I'll talk briefly about that and move on to the next question, next part of the same question. This podcast is only going to be about Novak Djokovic, and I'm going to be like trying to be the image of reasoning when against the people who are like the majority, which is you, which is perfectly fine. I'm sure you guys have reason. I'm not going to agree with any of it, but I'll try to. Now, Tennis Australia, which I had a call with Lal Bhargav other day, and we talked why Tennis Australia said okay, because the 10 people who are saying okay, and all the money because of Djokovic is going to come, is going to go in their pockets. Okay, that's exactly why. I was saying, like, if you and I, Bikram was also there, we would have also said, please come, because we're going to make money out of you, buddy. Why would we say no? Australian government had political issues. Let's move on to the second part of this question. Now, my idea is I don't agree. You said you guys don't like him. I don't agree with Djokovic, what he says, believes. He says a lot of bullshit. And he said a lot of bullshit about the vaccine as well. He's not even a tennis player I have ever really cared for particularly. Okay. I know he's a great player, but I just really don't like care about him. But I want to back him here because the fact that he doesn't want to get vaccinated, I want to back him for that. I'm just saying that it's not right or wrong to not to get vaccinated. I don't know. Okay, listen, I don't know. So if you want to get vaccinated, please get it back. Please get vaccinated. In fact, I'll ask people to get vaccinated constantly. I asked my mother. I was after her life to get vaccinated. What I'm saying is a fundamental right, and our world cannot become like George Orwell's 1984 and ostracize, just kick somebody out, shun somebody out who refuses to follow majority. And also, it's just a rule, right? A rule is different in different countries. It's not a hardline thing that, he's not murdering somebody. It's just a rule which is applicable in Australia. Now, this guy decided to stand his ground. I respect him for having the courage to not walk the path of least resistance, who just made up, I myself made up an acronym for that, polar, the path of least resistance. He could have easily just gotten the jab and made everybody happy, including all of you people, including all of Australia. Suddenly he becomes this saint guy. No, he does not. What Djokovic is doing is right now, whether wrong or right, he takes balls, and this guy has balls of steel. Can he not do something he wants to do? All I was saying, like, if they didn't want him, just tell him not to come at all. Don't give him any kind of hopes at all. I mean, just tell me that can anybody decide? If this rule wasn't there in Australia, he would have been fine. It's just a rule there, right? It's a rule. And people get exemptions all the time. And he did get an exemption. He didn't make it up. That's all I'm saying. He didn't make it up. He didn't force feed somebody. They said it was a blind test also. What they mean blind test is like that they don't know it's Novak Djokovic. And as Bikram said, a lot of other people are also there. By the way, a lot of other tennis players are also there for Australian Open. One of the girls is actually going back because she's like, it's just too much. It's just not worth it, because she's not going to be able to train, and she's not some legend like him. So she'll probably lose in round one and probably end up losing more money. So it's just not worth it. She's going back. So people are facing this problem.
So I think two things for this. I think I agree with the first part that it takes courage to stand up to what you believe in. Whether what you believe is right, wrong, I'm not questioning that. I'm not a scientist. I can't 100% say what about the vaccines, whether they're right or wrong. But I think Djokovic believes in something and he is standing by it. So, I mean, kudos to him, right? Now, coming to the second part, he lives in a society. He does not live in isolation where, if it is his own house, he can make other people follow rules, right? If I don't want you to wear shoes inside my house, I'll tell you, please take it off. It's my house, my rules. Similarly, now it's like saying I don't believe in capitalism, like, I believe in socialism. I want to go and watch this whatever pianist play, but I will not pay for it because it's capitalistic. Let me go and watch the performance. It's not, I mean, the point is, because unfortunately we are living in a society bound by certain rules, I mean, it is what it is, right? Whether you like it or not like it, I mean, that's what it is. I don't like a lot of things about the world, but I mean, as long as it is quote unquote like within the rules, I can't have like too much to say against it, right? So the point is, kudos to him to believe and stand his ground. But on the other side, think about this. It is in the vast majority of in the interest of other people that a lot of people who are saying no to vaccines have taken the vaccines. Because like, suppose I don't believe, but I have parents in my house, or I meet other people. I'm like, I go to work every day. I mean, because I know less about the vaccine than the scientists in the community, I'll just take it just for the sake of others' safety. I mean, isn't that, where is that gone? Like, where is that, like, compromising for the larger good? Like, where is that principle gone, right? Think about the ball boys in the tennis tournament who are like 10, 15-year-old kids who would be passing the balls to Djokovic, standing near him, going close to him, and what they would think and what would go in their mind or their parents' mind, right? If, like, that's what I'm saying. It's not about Djokovic. It's because it's a transmissible disease, it's a pandemic. He does not have to think about himself. He sometimes has to think larger beyond him. That's my only
Okay,
point.
I am definitely going to answer to that as well, and there has to be an answer to that, even if it's right or wrong. But Bikram, you please, if you have something different to say, or if you have like other ideas on this.
And I mean, yeah, nothing different. I think, as I said before, I think the majority of the fault lies with Tennis Australia. They shouldn't have given the extension, because if I was at Djokovic's place and I had the exemption, I would have traveled. Why would I not travel, right? Even if there is whatever rules are there, whatever, but I have an exemption from the tennis authority, so I would assume that they have already spoken to the government. So on that count, I will not I can't fault Djokovic. And about his beliefs and everything, yeah, I mean, that's obviously out there. And right now, the biggest talking point right now this time is his lawyer is actually saying that he's getting the exemption on the grounds that on 16th December his test came out as positive. And it is a well-known fact, or it is recorded, that on 17th December he was in a public ceremony where he was handing trophies to young kids in Belgrade on 17th December without any mask. So I mean, all these kind of things actually make him look bad. So that's all what is happening. I actually don't fault Djokovic for traveling to Australia. That's not his fault.
Okay, what you just said is interesting. I'm sure it's probably true, but a lawyer cannot be super stupid, right? So there must be something there which we're missing. I hope so. Otherwise, this just looks very stupid. I'm going to come back and answer Bikram's, Lal's question, because it was part 4. I have to like go to part 4 right now, because this is my 2 cents here. Now, whether Djokovic claims takes the darn experimental, and I'm going to call it experimental, whether you people agree or not, I definitely think it's an experimental vaccine, and or he doesn't, as he's chosen to not take it, it doesn't change one goddamn thing, according to me, because whatever your ball boy logic is just completely falls flat. Because every motherfucker I know in India, particularly in Delhi and Bombay and also Bangalore, all of you guys have taken this vaccine, whatever we've been given, okay? And all of you guys are again and again testing COVID positive. Everybody I know has been testing positive over and over again. That's just a fact. It's not like also I know somebody. If you come here, we have around 38,000, 40,000 cases every day. I don't know what's the number in Bangalore. Delhi is right now in lockdown because the numbers have gone through the roof. And I'm just saying, all they're doing is they've taken the double jab, they stay home, stay safe, mantra is there. But the fact is, you're still going to get sick. All I'm trying to say is that he's not going to make any more people sick unless he's deliberately fucking with it. Whether you take vaccine or not, this new Omicron or other things will keep happening to you. The best thing you can do is try not to party with people, try not to start kissing people in public, try to just do basic things, just do basic social distancing whenever you can, apart from your children or something. Wife you not naturally do after 2 years. I mean, you guys start staying in different rooms, that just happens, right? That's just part of life. But I'm very serious about it, that people are getting sick over and over again. It's just because you're vaccinated. It's not like if he is vaccinated, he's not going to give anything to other people. That's just a proven truth, right? So when you say
Yeah.
ball boys are scared, it in a sense that's true, but that doesn't change anything. Everybody gets sick, and everybody will get sick.
And
So
I would like to
yeah.
add something here that I for according to me this rule of being double vaccinated is not something which I really like, because vaccination only prevents hospitalization, or it tells your body to fight, like, prepares your body for infection. It doesn't stop the spread. So anyway, when you enter a new country, there is quarantine rules. You are quarantined for X number of days, and then they test every day. So even if you are vaccinated, non-vaccinated doesn't matter actually. To be honest, so in my opinion, this double vaccination requirement is kind of bullshit. I don't really see any reason to have that, because once you get infected, whether you are vaccinated or not vaccinated, and you will also infect others.
Change your name
So
to
that's
Beacon of Reason. Beacon of Reason. I mean, I'm sure, Lal, you're probably the most intelligent person among us. I mean, I'm just talking about the salary only. But um, and even if you're conservative, you understand, right?
ESPN
Yeah.
FC, ESPN FC finally cleared my dues, so I guess I'm the richest guy here.
He's just buying a bungalow in like next to Buckingham Palace. He's like Queen, and he's like hitting on Queen. Queen is like, yeah, Lal. Like,
So
yeah.
I think going back, I think it's not about whether you get infected because you are vaccinated or not vaccinated, right? The point is, if you are vaccinated, you yourself, as Bikram said, it's not a cure, right? It just makes your symptoms milder, and you don't put stress on government hospitals and the public health infrastructure, right? That's the job of the vaccine. We will Right now we are debating, based on the current limited knowledge we have. The true picture will only come 10 years down the line, when we look back, or some Michael Moore would create a documentary on what actually happened during COVID, is when we really know what are the scientific facts, what we could have done, what were the bogus rules, what we could have done better. Right now, with the knowledge in the public domain, I think you're right. Take your vaccines and isolate. I mean, don't go out in public and transmit the virus. That's as simple as that. That's what we know. But for all you know, this virus is already in the air and people are breathing it without, like, being in proximity of each other. I mean, that might be the case. I'm not saying that's the truth, but 10 years down the line, when we know the full picture, this could be the reality, and this rule might look stupid then. So the point is these are Australia's rules. Now you can question it to death, that he can come 10 days early, isolate, take negative RT-PCR test, and play the tournament. Agreed, that's the most logical thing they could have done. That Djokovic come on 1st Jan, stay in the hotel for 10 days, on the 11th day take the test, if you're negative, come and play the tennis. Simple, right? But unfortunately, these rules, as I said, were not made specifically for Djokovic. They made the rule in their country. And come to think of it, Australia has probably the lowest death rate in any large economy across the world. They probably have the lowest per capita cases. And they believe that because of their quote unquote draconian rules, it's because of these rules, and they made the rules. Now, point is, you are going to their country, you have to follow their requirement. If I have to apply for a visa for Australia, I have to, like, say, if they ask for 10 forms, I have to fill 10 forms. But if, let's say, US asks only for 5 forms, I can't say Australia, US is only asking 5 forms, why are you asking 10 forms? I mean, unfortunately, that's the rules, right? It's visa requirements nowadays. So my point is, if you ask me from a logical point of view, it's incorrect that he could have just isolated and taken a test. If he was positive, send him back. If he's negative, let him play. But unfortunately, these rules were made before his time and not designed only for him. So it is what it is. And the second part of it, the medical exemption of Djokovic, why he is allowed not to take the vaccine. If there is a genuine medical reason, please give him the exemption and let him play. But the point is, right now they're debating that this exemption is bogus. Because you don't
yeah, I
want to
think
take it, you've created this false, like, medical, quote unquote, medical reason. So we don't believe it in, and, like, screw it. So
Yeah,
that's
I think the
yeah.
main point of contention is that there is a exemption policy in Australia. if you have got COVID in last I don't know how many days, then you're exempted from taking the vaccine. But what they have done is that rule is not applied to foreigners, like people who are coming to the country. So based on that,
Yeah,
I
see
think
that
Tennis Australia,
that's a loophole, right? I mean
right?
that's illogical. So I know
So
There is
the rule
nothing
is not
logical about
perfect.
anything.
Yeah.
There's nothing logical
so
about COVID. Yeah, please go
correct.
on.
So I think, yeah, based on that, I think Tennis Australia thought that we can use that loophole to get him enter the country, and he is Novak Djokovic. It's good for the economy and everything. So eventually, it will come through. So I'm saying, in my opinion, I mean, my like opinion is that major fault lies with this the authority, the tennis cricket. Sorry, Australian tennis authorities. And what is happening now that Djokovic is trying to fight, and his lawyer is saying that 16th he got positive and all that. This will become a mess now. This will become a mess.
Okay, we'll find out. I think you've said 5 times that Tennis Australia is at fault, so you're definitely throwing somebody under the bus. The only before I move on to the final part, which was actually the second last part, only thing I'll say is to you, one of the things while you said that Djokovic is not going to be overwhelming the hospital situation, right? He's not going to be the one person. He's just taking care of himself, and he's got like gazillion dollars, so he is not one person who's going to overwhelm the infrastructure. So that logic does not apply to him also. Apart from it, as we are, everything is just a rule and we follow the rules. Let's talk about rules. One last thing I wanted to say was the whole drama is political, which now everybody knows in Australia. It's fucking rotten politics. You just win some points because 3 days before the whole saga happened on Wednesday, the Aussie PM Scott Morrison had no problems with Djokovic coming to Australia. Never said a word. In fact, he alluded to the fact that he's okay with it. It's perfectly fine. If he has it, just go ahead with it. But suddenly, this guy just changes his stance and began his grandstanding with dialogues worse than a fucking Salman movie, saying rules are rules. I will repeat what Aussie tennis player Nick Kyrgios said. They need to do better. They just need to do better. As simple as that. And that guy has been always shunned as the worst person ever on earth. But if you listen to his 3-minute interview, I mean, he's honest. He's dead honest about it. He said, it's just not good enough. And he says the same thing you guys said. He said, the reason I've taken vaccine is not because I wanted to. It's just because, just take it. Just like, people say like, it's just take the damn thing. Like, that's how it is. He said, I don't know what it is. Just like, it just makes it easier. That's all.
So
he's like, our
so I think
parents and whatever.
The point is Djokovic has made it easier for politicians to dramatize this issue and politicize this issue, right? He, because of his views, which are kind of extreme on one end of the spectrum, it's easier for politicians
Not in
to take
Serbia.
advantage and do, yeah, not in Serbia, but I mean internationally wherever he goes, it's controversial, and politicians can make an issue out of it. So I mean, if Scott Morrison didn't do grandstanding, I would be like, okay, what kind of a politician? Is he a real politician? Like, are you saying he's like, what the hell? So I think
Fair enough.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
And just one last point, like I know it's kind of tangential, but tennis as a sport or any sport will continue. There is no Serena Williams, there's no Roger Federer, there's no Nadal in this tournament. And the tournament and tennis will survive, even if worst case scenario, Djokovic is not playing. A lot of greats have retired in the past, or like, I'm just taking example of the US Open, last US Open, right? Young 18-year-old, 19-year-old, winning the US Open, great matches. So people will, the tournament will be a draw. It'll attract eyeballs. Tennis lovers will watch the tournament no matter what. So I think the sport will continue. I don't think there is no one is bigger than the sport. And I in the short run, you might feel that, okay, like, Djokovic would have been there, that you could have earned more dollars. Probably true. But I think the sport as a whole, I don't think it'll affect too much.
Yeah, authorities don't care. Tennis Australia doesn't care. They just knew that I think you said, Bikram, that the economy they don't care about economy. But if he comes in, they make more money because Tennis Australia makes, I'm also start saying Cricket Australia. Tennis Australia will make more money, which will more money for the people at the top. So that's all they care about. And by the way, one of the reasons all this drama is happening, this is actually making it Australian Open a lot more popular. And if you guys don't know tennis, I mean, I'm sure Australian Open is the least popular of all. Wimbledon, number one, French Open, then US, and then Australia. Nobody cares about Australian Open, okay?
Right,
But
right.
now, because of this thing, drama has happened. Also, to counter your point as well, that it's because all these players are not playing and everything needs a story. So Djokovic was the big draw, and the fact he's chasing 21st, and he's, by the way, he went everywhere without vaccination. It's not, there's no drama, right? There's just drama just happened now because of a rule which is only here. He will go to French Open. He will go wherever the fuck he wants to go. Okay, they will want him. Or if there's a drama, it will not go to this level, which has gone to. They'll fix it. They'll find a solution. They'll figure it out. They'll find an exemption, which will be perfect. Perfect exemption. Okay, Vikram, you want to finish this? Otherwise,
yeah, I think even I'm interested to see what happens, and if
so tomorrow is
that
Monday. Our podcast will be out, and the lawyers will be in there. Hopefully, as you're saying, the lawyer, it's a she, or he or she is not as stupid as you're making them sound like.
yeah, I mean, if that's the case, I mean, in Serbia people don't care, so I think it'll be fine that he was positive and still came to
Oh
the
no, here,
tournament.
Australia. He needs to win that fucking court battle tomorrow, right?
I don't have high hopes for him to win the battle here because as I said, the rules are rules, and we have seen this drama happen before every tournament. Before Ashes, there was drama that England will not travel. Before India also, when India was also going, they were saying that we'll not do hard quarantine. So this drama always happens, and the visiting team or the sportsmen always have to bow down to the rules. So I don't think that Djokovic will be an exception. So I don't see him getting that exemption.
All right, all three of us will find out tomorrow. I think they will figure out the result. The fact what I love about Djokovic is that although he's been holed up in a hotel, unable to move around or train, he's so confident that if he gets through this thing, and I'm pretty sure he's confident he's going to win it also. And even after that, after being holed up for multiple days, he'll go out and train, and this guy still believes he can win. According to Nick Kyrgios, he said, you think he's holed up there? If he wins this thing, I think he's going to be unbeatable because he's going to have this another level of energy. He's like, fuck this people. I'm going to destroy everybody. So if the Novak Djokovic actually plays right, I think the tournament viewership is going to go through the roof. That we can agree, right? Every time he will come on, people like, what is happening? What is happening? There's just now this curiosity about this thing. So let's wait till tomorrow. Our podcast will be out as well. And if you want to keep watching, we'll be talking about cricket and also transfer market in football next. All right. Thanks, Barmy Army. Thanks, Novak. Domicron. I love that name. I'm Eagles Blunt Gav. Domicron. All right. Thanks, right? And like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.